Hello everyone, my name is Christian and welcome back to my hobby blog. Today I wanted to do a book review on book 2 of the Dune series, Dune Messiah. I read this over the weekend and I finished it today, so today is Monday and I really enjoyed this book for the most part. I thought this was a really great sort of kind of continuing on of Dune Part 1. And although there is a bit of a time skip in this book of 12 years, this sort of just wraps up kind of the ideas within the first book, with Paul being the new emperor of the entire, basically, known universe. And you get a lot of kind of details on how that has been. He is no longer kind of the boy that we knew. Now he's straight up a pretty bad ruler in terms of having wiped out dozens of billions of people across the known systems. And also, he brags about having wiped out many different religions. And he's sort of setting himself up as this kind of godlike emperor, which I know a future book is called God Emperor, or God Emperor of Dune, I believe. But I'm curious how that book will go. And because this book lays a lot of groundwork, I feel like, for the future books. I don't know really too much about the future books, except some particular transformations of some characters, but I really enjoyed the world building in this book the most. There wasn't much story to or plot to be had in this book. This was a lot more of just kind of, to me, laying the groundwork for the future novels. There's a introduction written by Brian Herbert, the son of Frank Herbert, where he says that originally, when this book was coming out, it did not do so well because this was a bridging novel between Dune Part 1 and then the entry after this book, and that this book was really just setting the foundations of where all the characters are, what is going on with them, and also new characters. We have the resurrected Duncan Idaho as the Gola, and I thought that was one of the most interesting new characters of the story, and sort of his fight against his identity, or just his identity crises that are going on throughout this book, because Duncan Idaho in Dune Part 1, or Dune Book 1, he is killed. He sacrifices himself for Lady Jessica and Paul, kind of halfway through the book, and is struck down by the Sardaukar. And so, in this book, we find out that his flesh was taken, and they rebuilt him, basically, regrew him into this new kind of organism known as a Gola, which makes me think of the Golem from Wheel of Time. I don't know if Robert Jordan drew that from this book, but I do know that he was heavily influenced by Dune, so it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to find that out, so, or to know that's the truth. But I really also enjoyed the story of Alia this book. She has a lot more to do in this book. She's now about 15 years old, I believe. And there's this really weird kind of back and forth between her and Chani, who they're trying to decide who should be kind of the mother of the heir of the Atreides royal line, because Paul wants to continue his legacy and kind of have full control, and only his bloodline be in control. And the Fremen, and also the various other factions around this world that are spinning around our characters this book, no one really knows one way or the other whether Chani should be the mother, or even Alia. There's this weird, like, incest subplot going on, where Paul and Alia are kind of being set up as the next sort of pairing to maintain that royal line, which is something that happened a lot in our own history. So it's not too unbelievable that that was happening in the book, but ends up that Chani is the one who is ultimately the mother, and she ends up birthing twins for this kind of continuation of the dynasty. And I thought that was a really interesting part because it is revealed that Paul sort of gave her a particular kind of contraceptive where once she gets pregnant, then, or once they stop using that contraceptive, she's basically on a time limit or something. I don't know exactly how it was working, but there was a weird section where they were explaining it. And basically, once she got pregnant, like when the babies are born, Chani is just killed, just outright. Her body would be completely wasted away, and that's ultimately what happens. Is that we see Chani die, and she gives birth to twins, one boy, one girl, and Paul is really excited for this. He was not expecting twins, but he is happy nonetheless, and he goes out into the desert and supposedly dies. That was sort of the final few pages of it. And I don't really know sort of what the next book is about, because all the spoilers that I knew of were mostly in this book, like with the resurrection of Duncan Idaho. He sort of comes into his own, or kind of accepts his identity towards the end of the book as Duncan Idaho and no longer as the Gola. So I thought that was interesting. I really enjoyed the dancing faces guy, the guy who is like an assassin who is pretty gender fluid as well. He can change, or they can change the appearances pretty well, and he switches back and forth between a male and a female. So I thought that was a really cool aspect. There's a plot throughout this entire book where the Fremen are kind of unhappy with Paul and about what he's doing, because he's just doing everything not to the customs and to the beliefs, and they can't really accept that anymore. So there's a certain subsection of the Fremen who are planning on killing Paul, and there are various characters. The resurrected Duncan Idaho, he's sort of like he's like an automaton at this point of this book when he shows up, and he's not really remembering too much from the Duncan Idaho storyline, because he was again resurrected through his destroyed body, grown from his flesh, and his memories did not stay with him. So as the book goes on, he is slowly remembering a lot more, and we get to the end of the book, and he decides not to follow through on his prophecy, where he was originally going to kill Paul himself. So I thought that was a really interesting plot line there. But I also really enjoyed the sort of this small scope focus of this book, because I wasn't sure like what the timeline was in this book. I didn't really know too much about it going in, and getting kind of like a 12-year summation of how Paul Muad'Dib's rule has been since the ending of book one. I definitely preferred that. I'm happy we didn't just have like many pages of just him battling and sending people out. We got all we needed to know, and I'm really curious what the rest of the books will be like. I have gone spoilers in the past, which I'm not too happy about, but they're so out of context again, so hopefully I don't end up sort of ruining the experience for myself knowing those spoilers. But I don't know when I'll read book 3. This one, I really enjoyed the world building. I love the writing style of it as well. Frank Herbert's a really great writer, but I think I needed this as a palate cleanser in between the two Malazan books. I just finished book 8, did a review of that over the weekend. And now, after this book, now that's done, I'm going to begin Malazan book 9, Dust of Dreams, which is another chunky 1,200-page book. So I'm really excited to be starting that. But I'm trying to think anything else from this book that I really enjoyed or that I want to talk about. I wish we got more Lady Jessica in this book. She's back on the planet of Caladan for the most part in this book, and we kind of get some letters from her to Alia, and we get some kind of visions involving her, but she's not really on the page, so I assume Children of Dune, which is the next book, will go into that a lot more, and I hope it does. But this book was pretty awesome overall. I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads, and that's where I will stay with my rating because I thought it was a little too kind of setting things up for the future. Aside from the death of Chani and also the supposed death of Paul at the end, I thought there could have been a lot more going on in this book. I was fine with all of the politicking. I enjoy that stuff, but I definitely wanted some more just storyline in this book. But I understand it's only like 320 pages or so, and Brian Herbert also said in the introduction, as I had mentioned, that this is just a bridging novel. This is to set up the next book. So I'm excited to go into book 3 and see what that's all about. So thank you all so much for watching, and let me know what you think of this book. Was there anything that I did not talk about that you want me to talk about, or at least comment on? What do you think of this series overall? I know these books are supposedly gets kind of worse and worse as each book comes out, especially when his son's novels come out, which I have no intention of reading, honestly, because I heard they were prequels. I don't really want to explore that at all. But so I'll read the main 6 novels. I think I saw on the back of this. There's like an index, or it has a picture of all of the books. Yeah, so it has 6 books here, all by Frank Herbert. So I'll read those main 6, and then I guess that'll be it for Dune for me. So again, thank you all for watching, and please have a great rest of the day.